Good morning and a warm welcome to you wherever you're tuned in from and whatever time you get to watch this episode. Welcome. My name is Wamboi Sherere. I'll be your host for today. We are live from St. James Church, ACK Buruburu. And if you're looking for a church and you're looking for a church that is communal and family oriented, then look no further than St. James ACK Buruburu. We usually have these online conversations every Thursday, and today is our last episode this year, just before we break for Christmas. But we shall be resuming in early January, so we ask that you kindly take note of the break that we will be taking. Please remember to subscribe to this video so that you can receive notifications of our future episodes, and also share them with your friends who may be looking for content that is relevant and uplifting. We also have our online services on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. And if you subscribe, you'll be able to get notifications of these services as they happen. So karibuni sana. And today we continue with loss and grief. It's a very extensive topic, but very relevant, especially in this year of 2020, where most of us have experienced multiple losses. Some of us may have lost belongings through auctions. Some of us may have lost our jobs. Some of us have lost loved ones, and all of them in 1 year. And as we are crossing over to a new year, 2021, we could be wondering what the future holds. And it is up to us, as we learned in the first episode of this topic, that life is loss and loss is life. And it is important for us to be able to reconcile our losses and move on um, healthily. And today we will be looking at children. Children also experience loss just as we adults do, but probably we do not think much of children because we think they are not adults, they don't experience the feelings and the thoughts that we do. But as you're going to learn in today's episode, children are equally, if not more, affected. And so we are going to be expounding on how to treat children, how to support them better in their losses. For example, death of a pet can really affect a child. If a child relocates from an urban center to a rural area, like has happened to some families this year, they are losing their friends, they are losing the community that they are used to. And that loss needs also to be navigated well. So the children need to be supported in a way that helps them not to get stuck also in grief. And as usual, to help us delve into that topic is none other than Mr. Julius Kitari, whom has been taking us through this topic very competently. Please take time and put in your comments and questions, and we'll be sure to respond to them as you do. Karibu sana, Mr. Kitari.
Thank you, Aboy. How are you doing from the studio on the other part of the country?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. I hope you are doing well.
Yes, I am.
Thank you. I'm ready for the session.
Okay. So please tell us who children are and take us to their world, especially when it concerns matters of loss and grief.
Thank you, Aboy. Maybe according to our constitution or according to the general definition, a child is a person below the age of 18 years. That's according to the Kenyan constitution. And when we narrow down the scope, we can also say that a child is any person below the age of 12 years, to be more precise, and maybe to be more articulate on now the concept about children, because we have got two clusters of children, that is the adolescents and then these young people who have not reached the age of 19 years. So the concept about children, a child majorly should be between 0 to 12 years, so that now we can also make a paradigm shift from the children up to the adolescents who are between the age of 18 and sorry, we are between the age of 13 years all the way to 24 years. Though also our general understanding is that again adolescence it is up to the age of 18. That's not the case. It goes all the way up to 24 years according to developmental psychology. Back to you, Amboy. Sort of, I'm not hearing you, Amboy. Hello, Amboy.
Sorry, I had no.
Sorry.
Hi, thank you for that introduction. Um, so may we go on to the steps that we need to take when talking to children, even in general?
Thank you, Amboy. And allow me to say that just like adults grieve, just like adults mourn, just like adults get believed, equally, children go through the same process. But there is a general conception that we have that children should do not grieve, and actually issue to do with the loss and the grief they are for adults. That's a misconception of the highest order, and therefore we leave these human beings whom we are calling children in quotes because today they are children, tomorrow they are adults like us. So we leave those human beings more devastated, more affected, especially when we don't help them to go through the process. And maybe giving example from my cultural orientation, issue to do, especially issue to do with the death and the dying, though the topic is not only on the death of a loved one, is that at least we were never allowed to attend the funerals where I've been born and brought up. We were, as children, we were never allowed to attend funerals. Even news were never broken to us about the death of somebody in the village, to an extent that my understanding was that children can never die. It's only grown up people and people who have aged who are supposed to die. That's the kind of mentality I grew up with. Only to get the rude shock that even my colleagues, even younger children than me, at that time, they were dying, and this was a mystery. And it made me even to question the Creator. Why should God allow those innocent children to die? So children equally like adults, they do grieve, and therefore when they are grieving, they need help. The news need to be broken to them, just like we are also breaking bad news to other people. And something we need to understand is that at least for them, for these children, actually the age matters a lot. The age at which death has taken place, where they are in terms of developmental stage, is very important. And therefore, we need to know the steps to take in order for us to assist these people to understand that something has happened in the family, and they need also to be at par with what is happening. And so the first step that at least we need to do in case to talk to the children about death is to ensure that at least though breaking news to them is difficult, we need to appreciate that breaking bad news to the children is difficult at first. The fact that they don't understand the concept about that, especially the 0 to around 6 years there, understanding of death is a bit difficult for them. But at least we need to understand sharing difficult news with them is sharing bad news with them is difficult, but still they need to be kept at par. They need to understand what happened in their family or what happened within the vicinity, and therefore it is impossible to ensure we identify an adult whom we are calling significant person to them. Bad news for the children should be broken to them by an adult who is very significant to the children, and we need to appreciate that the pain of that that bad news to them. So let them be told. Maybe also let us be explained to them what has led to this death. Either this person was erring, or either it is as a result of an accident, or probably it is because maybe of an attack. So they need to, first of all, as we break the news to them and appreciate that they will really react because it's natural. They are going to grieve. So it's important to let them know exactly what has led to the death of this particular person, and therefore the conversation should be focused upon this upon that issue. Secondly, we need also to do timing is very important when to break bad news to the children. We don't just go to break the bad news to the children when they are very tired from a day's homework. Like they now, those who are in school out, they are getting overloaded with the schoolwork. So timing, especially when they are not tired, this is the right time for us to break the bad news to our children. And in this bad news, we need to understand that for me, for you, I'll be able to break the news to you using a lot of proverbs and idiomatic expressions. Children do not understand these proverbs. So I need to be straightforward. I need to call a spade and wait for them to react instead of now going aloud, meandering. Let us go straight and tell them exactly what has happened. And when we are breaking the bad news to these children, we need to find a safe and a comfortable place where to break this news. And especially in a place whereby there will be no distraction, especially if possible, maybe when you have isolated the child from the colleagues, maybe their colleagues have gone home, and therefore within the house confine, whereby you ensure so that the environment is conducive. That is the right place to break the news to the children. And maybe if you are maybe probably if you had gone to see the patient in the hospital and they gotten the news that the person has died, also ensure where you are there's no much distractions or there's no much disturbances. And especially where in some hospitals there are some signages which are written do not disturb, especially within that place where there is that kind of a signage. If it is possible, at least that's a good place to break this news to the child. Then also the other step, which is also very critical while breaking the bad news, is also you yourself, you need to be prepared, because this is what causes many people a lot of anxiety, especially adults. They get a lot of anxiety because they themselves are not prepared, and therefore they were wondering within your mind. There's a lot of cognitive dissonance, wondering, uh, do I tell the child? Do I not tell the child? How will the child take this information? So you, first of all, you yourself, you need to be fully prepared. And if possible, if you are well organized, you can be able to have a notebook and probably jot down how you are going to speak a point after a point. And remember, even as you break this bad news, you yourself be prepared. Some emotions can be triggered, and this emotion can make it to break down. And you can imagine what it means for you to break down in the midst of the child that you are breaking the bad news to. This now can affect you so much, and also it can affect the child even more, because now the child will resort now to sympathizing with you and feeling now more affected. But it's okay. In case you break down as you're breaking the bad news, don't shy off. It is in order. Just go on, gather yourself, have the strength, and break the news when you're composed back for the child. So it is important to bear in mind that at least that process is not easy, but at least it is not in order, it's okay. And appreciate that in the process you are likely to become emotional. When emotions come out and you feel like crying, don't withhold, just go ahead and cry. And don't say that the mother has cried in the presence of the child, the dad has broken down. No, it is okay. And grief has got no adult, it has got no children. It is for last all. And you need to go through this pain of grief. So let people not shy off. If you feel like crying as we break the bad news, if you feel like shouting, just shout, because we said grief is the natural reaction. It is the natural expected reaction to a loss. Boy.
Thank you for that. What is the importance of breaking the news as you have explained to us?
The importance.
Why is it important to break it in a proper way?
Okay, the importance of breaking bad news to the people is first of all to help the people to get a clear understanding of what has happened. Number two is to allow people not to resort to defense mechanism of saying that it is not possible, I don't believe it, because when we resort to those defense mechanisms, definitely we are now going towards the side of becoming sick. So most important thing is to allow people not to go to the defensive side, but to accept the reality and they react to that reality as it is. Because failure to do that, it will lead now to what we are calling the delayed grief, the complicated grief, the pathological grief that we mentioned earlier on. So it's very important to break the news. Then the other thing is that at least is to avoid now the philosophical questions that people ask. So and so went to the hospital, and he or she has taken a long time. What is happening? How is this particular person faring? And kumbe, this person died a long time ago. So it is to avoid making people to start now having the philosophical questions. And sometimes, when people have not, I did not know that something happened, they can hurt you. Thinking that so and so, one boy is still there. Kumbe, one boy bado anaishi na tayari anaishi na puko pahali. So it's important so that these people do not come to continue to mention somebody who died a long time ago, and it catches with them abruptly or when they are not prepared. Then also it also remember time is a healer. It also gives time now people now time to process their grief, especially when the wound is very fresh, instead of now having the so-called delayed grief and somebody you wonder what is happening to this particular individual at a later date. So breaking the news is very important because it helps people now to conceptualize what has really happened, and therefore even when they are coming in to support, actually they are supporting something that they have dealt with. So the stage, remember there are 5 stages that people go through. The stage of shock and numbing is already overcome now, and they have also processed their anger. And that is why, remember, me as a psychologist, I can never say that so and so has died because I'm not a medic. It is only the time the Mendy confirm that somebody is no more when now you can say that somebody is dead. Even if you took a dead person to the hospital, you can never say that, hey, I am taking a dead person to the hospital. No, that's a patient. That is a patient until when the professional who is in that area break the news and tell you so and so has died. We can never. We are not authorized as psychologists to declare that. And incidentally, it can put somebody into it can make somebody to be apprehended. You can be in prison because you are the one who killed, and you are not a specialist. So breaking the bad news, first of all, according to the legal framework, it is the mandate of the mendic. As now the mendic has broken the news now to the significant others. This time now we have the audacity to communicate about that. But whether you took somebody dead to the hospital, that's a patient who is sick until declared by the doctor that this patient is no more. And I think that information is very important to clarify the people Wamboi, so that you don't say that he died on my hands. No, that person they did die. If you go and bring those news, you can be in prison, you can be taken to court as a mandala. Wamboi.
Thank you for clarifying and giving that broad spectrum of how to break news, why we should break it the way we should, and also I think we can also use. I know we are using
An
death as
example,
the
yeah,
most vivid
good,
example,
yeah.
yes, but the same steps can be used when also communicating
And
other
especially for the
losses.
children, eh?
Loss of a job,
Especially for the
yeah,
children now, to them, death is secondary.
yes, yes,
Yeah, maybe as we continue, maybe you can narrow the scope now specifically the children's world.
yes. Okay, so if someone loses their job, should they also tell it to their children?
You know, wow. If I lose my job, is it
Yes,
okay for me to tell my children?
yes,
Now, naturally, a normal person because say that grief is a natural reaction to a loss. As a man, as an African man, as a Kenyan man, I don't have the audacity to tell them about that. Is a symbol of weakness.
mm,
So, to many Kenyan men, telling their children that they have lost a job is a thing you cannot dream of.
Okay.
But the reality now, from a psychological perspective, death is a loss. Sorry, job loss is a significant loss. And therefore, whether you tell it or not, your face is already written that it is not well. It is not okay. You might be speaking with the mother that it is okay. It is not okay. It is written all over. The body has already started somatizing the fact that you are no longer working. Your emotions are already writing. The way you're communicating is already showing, this is not the one boy I knew. So even though you tend to mask, still the inscription on the wall, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of us all, it is already there. So and the children don't think that they are just locks. Children are adults, they are human in their own world, they are picking. And remember, you've brought them up picking a lot of verbals and non-verbals from you. So already they have got something in their heart. If they were to open their Pandora box will be shocked. There's no, hey, Buddha, leo mambo si mazuri. Yeah. Yes, they can be able to read. Therefore, it is very important when you lose a job to gather your family together and prepare them, then break the news to them. It's very important. Actually, as a noble person, as a caring dad, as a caring mom, it's important after you've lost a job, you've gotten your sacking, the organization has prepared you maybe for the retirement or retrenchment counseling, go and prepare your family. Break the news to them. Let them mourn. After that, you get a lot of support. Actually, one of the reasons for breaking bad news is to mobilize the resources, the community resources to support you in that kind of a state of pain. So, this family that you are fearing to tell, remember it is the pillar, it is your major support system. So, break the news to them, let them grieve, let them mourn, let them complain. Those complaining, their reactions, they are already processing. So, let them complain, let them abuse the organization that has really sacked you. It is very important because now they're expressing, they are manifesting the process of grief, they are grieving, they are mourning over the loss. And after that, after they have shed all those emotions out, definitely they are going to recover because bad emotion, the purpose of emotion is to move out from the place of danger to a place of safety. So when they are really crying and they're reacting and they're making those kind of comments, they are relieving themselves, the emotion that could have brought the mental health problems, let alone beginning with the stress. And therefore, you're saving them a lot of health and related conditions. So it's important. Bring the news, let them react, and therefore, after that, bring your ideas together. Let them give you the ideas. Let us now look for alternative because again, life is about alternatives. One boy.
Thank you so much for that clarification. And now, could we kindly explore the types of losses that children encounter? And sometimes, as adults, if we are not careful, we may trivialize what children consider to be a loss. And also,
Yes.
once these children experience, for example, the loss of a pet is a big deal for a child because that pet is a significant person in the life of a child. But also, after we look at the losses that children go through, how children manifest or experience grief.
Thank you, boy. Now,
Okay.
let's look at the one of the children. Now, remember, children are different from adults. And majorly that tender age, their world is very, very, very practical. If they cannot touch you, you don't exist, especially the young children. If 0 to around 3 years, if they are not touching around 2 years, if you are not touched, you don't exist. And that's why mothers are able to leave the house in the morning, go to the place of work comfortably, and the child will be left at the home because the moment you left, you don't exist, and therefore the child is very comfortable. The moment you hide something at the back, that thing does not exist. So the one of the children is different from us. Remember, even their dreams, they are different from us, and therefore attachment is the most critical thing for the children. And so for the children, there's what we call treasured objects that they normally have. And because the one who has also been perceiving the children as if they are not normal human beings, they are just objects to be seen, there is a concept called object relations. So much of the attachment, much of the security of the children is in the area of the object within the environment to avoid. And these things in the environment include just the normal marbles that you are buying for the child, which they normally call banu. Those banus are very important for the children. The marbles we buy for them in the market because again of the hygiene. Look, I think marbles are for the urban children. Back in the rural area, our marbles is you use mud to prepare your own marbles. Yeah, you roll the mud together and you make it dry, it become marbles. So, but for Nairobi people at least and other cities that they have got the banus, which are from the market, you can buy them. Uh, so for the children, most of the toys they normally have, most of the dresses that they are having, these dresses are very significant. They take the role of a human being. A child might be clinging to just a certain t-shirt or a certain dress. Whether it is torn, whether it is dirty or not, you see, even when you bought new ones, there is a specific dress that the child is really attached to. That dress means a lot to the child. Now, there is a tendency in our houses to have the carton, whereby the child puts all their whatever you call lavish in quotes in a certain carton. When you go there, you meet a piece of spoon, a broken phone cup. You'll be able to see bottle top. It is there, a piece of paper, a crayon, some things you might call wastes. That is not a waste. That is a house of a child. So how that child is in a self-contained house, and the neighborhood properties will be there. The shoe of the neighbor is there. Maybe a padlock of the neighbor it is there. And so even when the community is complaining that oh our padlocks have been stolen, they are not lost. They are in one of the families, one of the members of that estate. The child took, and this child did not steal. They exchanged with the other child in that house, because children will visit houses where there are other children unless an adult welcome them, because normal human beings are children. Anybody bigger or taller than the child is not a human being. That's a giant. And in the world of giants, we don't need the giants. That's why they are very scared to face you when you are standing. So if you are to welcome a child, you must always bed it down to their level, because normal human beings ni wandonyere. Yeah, therefore, those other people, they are sons of Anak, they are giants, and we don't need to relate with the giants. So for the child, a toy might mean a lot, and therefore, when this toy is broken, it can make the child to grieve. For a child, simple things like just the shakers that when they are very young, parents buy for them, they are very significant in their life when they get lost. And so don't imagine because a shaker has been lost, the child does not recognize. The child recognizes because they have a lot of attachment to that particular thing. And therefore they grieve just like adults grieve. They need somebody to understand their world. And therefore, because many times, especially the tender age, we don't understand their language. Their language is only vocalized through crying. You may need to know the meaning of the cry that has been made as a mom or as a significant person. You need to know this, the sound that they are producing, what it means to their world. So many times we tend to ignore, and as a result, many emotions are never processed, and therefore somebody grows without processing these emotions until now later on at a later stage is the time now they start on this particular person. People start developing depression and other behaviors which we normally call in discipline cases. They become rebellious. They start now seeking for attention. They display inadequacy, and sometimes they want now to show between you and them who is more powerful here. So the power game now begins there, because majorly those are the four goals of children's misbehavior, and this disturb people a lot. So let us understand the significance of the object relations, the one of the children. Then again, also in relation to the children's items, we need to know we are not supposed to buy toys for the children unless the toddler ones, maybe 0 to around 1 year we can buy for them, but from there we need to be going the children to the toy market so so that they buy the toy which is age specific and it is able to meet with their needs. The ones you are buying, they are for your own need at this age, not for the child's need. So let's not adults that also meeting their needs through children's toys. So help the child to grieve over that thing. That carton you want to ban, first of all, seek permission from the owner who is a child before you say this dirty visitors are coming, this needs to be thrown away. You cannot throw my house away. I'll fight back. And therefore, from here, you start now creating banned relationship with the child because you banned their carton without their permission. Actually, when the children are young, one boy, your house where you are living, you have got children, the house is supposed to be child friendly, not visitor friendly. Therefore, when you are having small children, you need to have a bigger, spacious house than at your age now. When you're an adult now, you need a smaller house because children are not there. Children need a bigger space to play and to trigger their reflexes in the body. So you need a bigger house when children are young and a small house when they are old because they have left the house. But we do the opposite. And therefore, we tend to tame the children as if they are chicken. A small corner in a room, say that they are disturbing you, and they have really to be hidden there. So, children are not the dustbins. Let's take care of them. Let's give them the time to express themselves. And so, please, when they are grieving, walk with them the journey of grieving. And we will mention some few techniques which can assist these children to process what is happening in their lives. And maybe sometimes when they grieve, we also tend to pair their grieving process with other things that we tend to scare with them in the house, like cockroaches, and they are already grieving. So, in the name of we want to divert their attention, no. So that is complicating their grieving process. It is now adding a trauma on top of the loss. Probably.
Thank you for helping us enter the world of children, which is quite different from what we adults are used to. And anyway, it's interesting because we were all once children, but it's interesting how we quickly forget. And we now also want the children to grow up very fast and stop behaving like a child, yet they're children.
Correct.
And we need to allow them to be children. What are some of the losses from a child's point of view? That a child, I know for the adults, it's a job loss, it's developmental loss, it's all those kinds of losses that we have described earlier. But what are some of the common losses that children experience?
One of them is loss of friendship. You know, that they know next door is a friend to your son or to your daughter. Are you together? So even when you think of shutting the house, you need to allow your child to say an appropriate goodbye to their no at the caris. You need to give them time to say an appropriate goodbye. The other loss they undergo is when now another child is born. Actually, one of the major problems of children is that now getting another baby. Getting another baby is a major loss in the life of a child. And that's why some children really react when another child is born in the family. So the birth of a new child is a major loss to the child who was there before. No parents do not know this. Especially, we have got the way of cheating the children that when you see my stomach big, it's because I'm eating bigger plate than you, instead of telling the child that you are pregnant. So the way we are bringing our children the culture of lies. So the birth of a new sibling creates sibling rivalry, and this sibling rivalry has got a lot. The child who is reacting is because they are feeling that they are not prepared, and now you have brought another person here, and their attention has left me. Now it is on this other person, and therefore I undergo rejection and insecurity and detachment, and that's why the birth of the second born or third born, you discover the first born they are not very good friends because now they were never prepared for this. The other one has to do with their items, lots of their items, those things that we are calling their toys, their dolls. They are very important. They undergo this. The other loss they undergo is when you are shifting from our residential place where you have been living, and you have to, maybe God has blessed the family. They have been able to purchase a plot at the build. You need to prepare a child a year before. 6 months to 1 year before you need to prepare a child. And you know, very soon we are going to our own place. We will be going to a new place. Not just coming with a lorry in the evening and chasing the child all over. all over the compound as if he has become a terrorist. Eh? Come very fast, and even you're chasing even their chicken. So it's important to prepare them in advance that we are shifting from this praise going to our own praise, which God has blessed us with. So that shift of residential praise is a significant loss. These children sometimes remember the way we are living, even some of their chicken, if they were blessed with some chicken by their grandparents, they are left behind. The doggy that they were used to, it is left, so they suffer a lot. So shifting of our residence is a significant loss to the life of the children. Then going to school, you don't just bump on the child and tell the child, tomorrow is on Monday, you are going to school. No, we have to prepare these children this time next year. Like right now, we have got one who is supposed to go to school. Prepare this child psychologically that this time January you'll be going to school, and if possible buy the school bag in advance so that the child can really joke with it aloud and familiarize with it. Not the day for going to school you're doing a very heavy shopping for the child and a very big bag here, written school bag. But remember, the child will not go to school because without what? The food and the mandazi. Yeah, most important thing is not the books, but the food. Even though they're going to school, prepare them that they're going to school, and then, if possible, let children not be taken to boarding school, especially in their normative stage. Let them not be taken to any boarding school, especially for the primary school life, if possible. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Day school will be the most balanced place for them. Let them go, come in the evening. They will go to high school for boarding, but prepare them. The much boarding you can do for them is that when there is a school trip, prepare them to go for the school trips. Not as at a very tender stage, you're telling the child that, oh, God has blessed us, go to boarding school. No, that's a significant loss of this child. They have not dealt with you, mom, and they don't. They have not finished the attachment that you earned with them, and therefore this is a significant loss they go through. The other one has to do with the rites of passage. It's a significant loss that the children are going through, the rites of passage, which they are never also prepared. The rite of passage is very significant for them. They need to be psychologically prepared for what is happening while they are transiting from point A to point B. They need to be thoroughly prepared. The other one has to do with the teething. Teething on boy is a significant loss in the life of the child. The milk teeth are very treasured by the child. And by the way, if you look at them, actually, the milk teeth are always better than the secondary teeth that you normally get. So the fact that my teeth is going is a loss of aspect of self. I need to be prepared in advance that these teeth, they are not here permanently, they are going and they will go, whether you love them or not. If children will ask, they'll never let their milk teeth go. But now that they come, this child wonders. And you can imagine when you remove the first teeth and gap which is left there, they start wondering, will this mouth of mine never be okay again? And they start seeing themselves as if they are ugly. Only their self-esteem is affected by the removal of the first teeth. That's why sometimes they don't want to remove that teeth until it fall on its own. Accidentally, when they are eating some fruits, it fall. And they start wondering, if I knew I couldn't have eaten this fruit, because they are not ready to let go the teeth. So they need to grieve over that teeth of theirs. The other one has to do with the medicine. Any white, any person who wears white, long white dresses in the compound is a trauma to the children. Children not like to see people in white, especially the nurses and the medics. The enemy of the children is the jab, the injectables that they are given in the hospitals. So, and therefore, the need for us to prepare them, even when they are going to the hospital, why we are going to the hospital, whom we are going to meet there. Know that person, white is a color of peace. But now when this white is combined with the pain, I don't want that white. I don't want. Yes, and the same people are the ones who are giving children very bitter malaria in terms of suspension. So this white and the bitterness I'm getting, we are not good friends. And so they can create an enmity with the doctors or the medics. And that's why many children, even at a later stage, don't want to do medicine as a course because of the trauma they had when they are growing up. Yes. And I know they are even under two still say that I don't like taking what? Drugs. You better just inject me instead of giving me tablets. The problem started at the tender age when these children are growing. The other one has to do with the mind. A maid in some families is more important than the parent who give birth the child. So these the so-called aunties. There are some aunties in quotes because these are not biological aunties for the children, and I guess that name or boy you need to really change. Anybody who is not biological connected to me is not an aunt. Not every Scatuera is an aunt. Not every Trausawera is an uncle. We need to demystify that. Let's tell the parents frankly, not to be calling any man who tells us the uncle of the children. No, let them know they are biological uncles and the aunties. So those house helps, whom they call aunties, they are very important. Depending on their personality, there are some who will be very much attached to the children. So when they are disappearing, and sometimes the way we make them to leave our houses, it's very early in the morning because we configured with them last night. Very early in the morning, the child is even asleep. By the time the child is waking, auntie is no more. So it's a significant loss. And whether we replace that auntie in quotes with another auntie in quotes again, it does not measure up to the original relationship that they had, this child had with the previous house girl who left our houses. So it's important to prepare these children that, things were not okay. Until we are not coping very well, and therefore we are listening until to go back to their home. It's very important to communicate that way. But what we normally do, we impart on them in the morning, because when you give them notice they're going to steal our things, as we will be leaving to go to the place of work tomorrow, we will go with them and ensure that we have paid for their fare at the stage because they can be left at the stage and come back. So we ensure we chase them like dogs. So very important. Then their pet, when the pet of the children die, it's a very significant loss in their lives. And the pet can be a cat, just a chicken, a duck, a dog. Those things, they are very important to children. And therefore, children need to be allowed to view even the dead dog. If it was their dog, they need to view it. They need to grieve over it. They need to do the ritual that accompany death that is dying, so that they can be able to say an appropriate goodbye to this pet of theirs. Is very, very important. One boy.
Wow, you've said a lot, quite a lot. And I think two things stand out for me, especially what you said about boarding school.
Yes.
So, taking children to class one boarding is not advisable if we can avoid it. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Possibly, and that should be the thing, because they have not yet fully dealt with the issue to do with the attachment with their significant others. Yes, as we are introducing them to the teacher, they need to be psychologically prepared. So, and therefore, the connection between home and the school is very important. That's why when they're in the daycare school, you hear at every when it is one, they start singing nasikia sauti ya mama. Kwaheri mwalimu. So after one ikifika, when you proceed with the teaching, they will not hear anything because now they're hearing the sound of the mom at home. And that song is supposed to be sung Monday to Friday, not Saturday. You never hear a child singing nasikia sauti ya mama over the weekend because it does not happen. They are at home with the mama. So they are not hearing sauti ya mama because the mama is there already. So this communicates that the levels of attachment between the children and the school. And you can attest, even psychologically, children who who normally do their primary school education when they are scholars, they perform better even in future than children who are pampered in academies and all those kind of whatever. And it also arrests a lot of vices like this problem we've been talking about now, homosexuality, sodomy, and lesbianism. They are arrested because these children, they are able to negotiate. Remember, these days they're taking the children to school even before the age of 6 years. So they have not negotiated the phallic stage. As a result, they get stuck there. The outcome is homosexuality, lesbianism, and you start saying it is the devil which has come to school. If devils are coming to school, you should not take the children to school and devils are coming. Oh boy, it's not the devil. It is the children who has not negotiated that stage, and therefore they need time to negotiate, and they can negotiate when they are relating with their parents back at home and the environment. Back to you, Amboi. 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 Hello. Hello, Amboi. So, Amboi. Hello. So Wamboi, sort of, sorry. Hello, Wamboi. So I was saying that at least these children, there are some stages they have not negotiated, and therefore they need to be allowed time to negotiate by not taking them to school at a tender age. This culture of taking the children before the age of 7 years to school should really cease if possible. That period is known as the school age period, and therefore the preschool age period, and therefore they need time to play. It is time for them to play so that the reflexes in the body can be triggered, and as a result, these children can be able to acquire environmental skills that will be able to assist them to cope with the life outside the home environment. Back to you, Amboy. Hello, Amboy. Amboy. So, Amboy, are you getting me? Amboy. And so, just Pomboy, as you still get back to the line, so allow me also to say that that way to academies also is a significant loss. Way to school is also significant. Is also a significant loss that they go through, and therefore the need for them to have. Okay. Sorry for that hiccup, Wamboy. Sorry for that hiccup of the blackout. I guess we'll still be on track after. So we'll be on track after. Sorry for the challenge of the blackout from the other end of the studio. So viewers, please just be patient with the Waboy. There's been a small itch of the blackout. But meanwhile, as we wait, I was saying it's important for the parents to ensure any changes that are taking place in their homes to have the children in mind, to inform them what is happening, so that by the end of the day, our children can be able to be at par with the parents instead of reacting in a very, very negative way. Hello, Amboi. Hello, Amboi. Hello. boy. Yes, a boy. Boy.
So we shall continue where we left. Mr. Gitari, can you hear me?
I can hear you, boy. Yes, I'm hearing you well.
Sorry for that. We just had a power blackout, but we shall continue.
It's not boy.
And life must go on.
Life must go on whether it's blackout or not.
Sawa sawa. So I think I lost you at the part where you were talking about the
Children are
losses
important.
that children go through. You are summarizing just before.
Yes.
Sorry?
Yes, we were summarizing about now
So
children
you
going
are
to school.
finalizing.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
And why it's
so
important for them to attach properly to their parents.
yes. Yeah, that attachment is very critical. Can you hear me now? Mamboy, can you hear me?
So can we
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can hear you clearly.
Okay,
Yes, I
thank you.
can.
Because your sign looks a
Yes, I
bit
can
dark.
hear you.
You appear to your side
Okay.
still look a bit dark.
But the network is
Yes, it is okay now.
there's no power, but we shall continue to air.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So I think we can finalize with the techniques.
Correct.
We can continue to finalize with the techniques about how to help children. Then,
Beautiful.
did we cover how children manifest grief? Maybe we could do that quickly before we go to yes, how to help
Yes,
them
now
cope.
yes, maybe we can capture that very fast. But before we capture before maybe
Yes.
we wrap up that one. Maybe something I forgot to mention, one boy, is that there are some developmental stages that we need to be
Mm-hmm.
very keen about that
Yes.
children go through.
Yes.
So those developmental stages, especially for the children between the age of 0 to around 12 years, there are a number of stages they go through which we need to be very careful how we handle them. And maybe the first stage is the stage of 0 to about 2 years. That infancy stage. One boy, that stage is very important because two things children expect to get is a world that they can trust or they develop mistrust. And therefore, caregivers are very important to be there to provide care and support for the children because children require an environment that is consistent, predictable, caring, loving, and accepting for them. So then from 3 to 6 years, this is the time now children are acquiring their autonomy. Uh, so 3 to 6 years, they expect a one that is able to respect their rights. That's why the stage is called autonomy versus shame and doubt. If we don't allow them to experiment, because 3 to 6 years, the children are moving here and there. and therefore they require us to respect. When they are touching your mobile phone, you don't just rebuke them, you don't spank them. Just remember this is an adult in their own world, and therefore accept them with a lot of love and care. Explain with a low tone. Don't need to shout for the child because they have held your mobile phone. So if they want to tamper with something that is dangerous, this is the only time now you need to come on and they instruct them. No, don't touch this electric power point. You are going to be electrocuted. But when now we begin the ministry of don't, we are depriving the children of autonomy, and therefore, as a result of that, we develop children in future who are very much ashamed and always feeling guilty for whatever they are doing. Then the other stage of 7 years all the way to 12 years, there is also another very critical stage, which we are calling the stage of initiative versus guilt, and therefore industry versus inferiority. So is a period for them to be able to negotiate. Actually, no, actually, initiative versus gift is 3 years to around 6 years. Then industry versus inferiority is from 6 years all the way to 7 years to 12 years. So this is the time now they need to initiate, and therefore in every stage, from the stage of trust versus mistrust, the stage of autonomy versus shame and doubt, the stage of initiative versus shame and doubt, the stage of industry versus inferiority. Those stages, the four stages they are going through before they reach adolescence. Every stage you need to support these students to negotiate very well in order for them to become the kind of citizens we expect them to be. Citizens who are loyal, citizens who can be able to obey the rule of the land. Now, allow me to mention about now the way these students will manifest themselves in case they have gone through the losses. Now, you discover that because they're not able to talk with you, these children, when they are grieving, uh, because sometimes they're not able to talk per se, you discover that at least now the child has become very, especially when they are very small, they will be very, very, very cringy, clinging to the parents, especially when now you want to leave the house and go to the place of work. You discover the baby you are holding does not want to let go your clothing. When you start combing your hair, they want to be near the door, and then there's the element of them being very, very anxious, portraying confusion, anger, and even sadness. And sometimes these children, you discover physically that they are having very low energy levels. They have got a problem of eating. The eating pattern is changing. These children, you discover that even in terms of sleep, their sleep is getting disrupted, and many times they'll be complaining of unexplained aches and the pains on their bodies, just like the adults. They'll be manifesting also lack of concentration in terms of their behaviors, and sometimes if they have gone to school, you discover that the way the child has been performing now, performance has started now deteriorating. There is a memory loss, and sometimes now they'll be acting out. And acting out is whereby now they come in the house, they break your cups. Sometimes they come late in the house. They are fighting. They are becoming aggressive, very irritable, and sometimes the child who has stopped bedwetting, they start now regressing backward, and they start bedwetting. When you discover these behaviors, know that there's something wrong. Then also those who are disturbed sucking, they start now sucking again, and many times in terms of socialization, the child who was very confident to read the prayers in the house, they can no longer read the prayers because now they are feeling embarrassed, they are feeling ashamed, they are very fearful, and they start even withdrawing from the social interaction with other people, and you discover that some might even drop schooling. So they exhibit these kind of behaviors as an indicator to communicate to you that they are going through the grieving process, and therefore any signs and symptoms of the withdrawal, crying, aches and the pains, those somatic conditions, and sometimes acting in such a way that they are dramatizing, portraying the dead person or the lost item or the dead pet, then definitely they are communicating to you that they have been traumatized and they are grieving. So when those kind of behaviors happen, boy, the most important thing is now for somebody to seek professional help to the professionals who are well trained in the area of child counseling. We have got children counselors who are ready and they were all specialized in handling these kind of cases, because sometimes it becomes difficult for us to address the children who are not talking very well with us. And that maybe that now also now takes us now to the concept about now the techniques to embrace while handling children. Now we have got a number of techniques, one boy, for handling children who are grieving. One of them is what we call play therapy. And in play therapy, well, I don't know whether within your premises, whether you have got something called a play therapy room in the church premises there where you are, but in the play therapy room, there are two categories of items that are supposed to be present. All the items that are present at home, they need to be available in that play therapy room. All the items that are available in school environment, they need to be available in that room called the play therapy room. It is those items that the child is going to use to process what is happening within their lives. And there are two types of praise. One of them is what we call the directive play, whereby me as the person of the helper and my child will be in the room together.
And
We'll be
beyond our
together.
control. So
Sorry.
we will resume at a later episode to continue with this important subject of loss and grief in children. We are sorry for the challenges we are experiencing. We will be sure to pick it up from here next year. And I take this opportunity to wish you very happy holidays, and may God keep you well and safe. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. Merry Christmas and a happy 2021. God bless you.